The stars above shimmered like scattered jewels as Zahir stood on the observation deck of the human starship Lumina. He could feel the gentle vibration of the engines beneath his feet, a constant reminder of how far humanity had come. For centuries, humans had dreamed of reaching the Aelora cluster, a group of distant star systems ruled by powerful alien kingdoms. Now Zahir was not only traveling there, he was leading the first human mission to make contact. Zahir was not tall and his frame was lean, but his eyes carried a spark that few could ignore. They were the eyes of someone who had studied the universe not just for knowledge, but for understanding. Around him, the crew bustled, checking systems and discussing the mission. He smiled politely at each of them. Among humans, he was calm, confident, and patient. The Aelora cluster was unlike anything humans had ever seen. Vast planets with swirling purple and green skies orbited suns that glowed in shades unknown to human eyes. Ships from alien kingdoms moved like graceful fish through space. Their technology was elegant, far advanced beyond anything humans had built. And among those who ruled, the three princesses, Tavia, Nira, and Sola, were the most feared and revered. Stories whispered across the galaxy said they had mocked humans for generations, calling them weak and simple. When Lumina arrived at the edge of the Aelora cluster, the crew held their breath. A sleek alien vessel approached, glowing with soft blue lights. Its surface shimmered as if it were alive. Soon, 3 figures appeared on the main viewing deck of the alien ship. The princesses were tall, regal, and striking, with skin that reflected the colors of their planets. Their eyes gleamed with intelligence and amusement. Tavia spoke first, her voice smooth and melodic but tinged with mockery. "So these are the humans, the ones who believe they can enter the Aelora cluster without permission?" Nira laughed, a soft sound that carried easily through the comm system. "I can hardly believe my eyes. They look so fragile." Sola tilted her head, observing Zahir closely. "Do they really think they can survive here?" How amusing. The crew of Lumina shifted uncomfortably. Some whispered nervously among themselves, but Zahir remained composed. He knew the princess's reputation and expected their disdain. But he also knew that humans had strengths the aliens did not yet understand. Zahir activated the communication system, speaking in the universal tongue of the galaxy. "I am Zahir, representative of humanity. We come with respect and a desire for understanding. We do not seek conflict. We only wish to learn and share knowledge." The princesses exchanged looks, their laughter softening into amused smiles. "Learning and sharing knowledge?" Tavia repeated. Such words from one so small and untested. "Very well, human. We will allow you to dock. But remember, this is no place for the weak." As Lumina carefully aligned with the alien station, Zahir guided his crew with steady hands. Docking procedures were tense but flawless. When the hatch opened, the crew stepped into a world unlike any they had imagined. The station was vast, with ceilings that glowed faintly and walls that shifted colors in harmony with the light. Strange creatures moved silently, attending to the princess's needs. The princesses walked toward Zahir, their movements graceful yet intimidating. Tavia stopped a few feet away, studying him with sharp eyes. "Tell me, human," she said, "why should we believe that your kind is worth our time?" Zahir smiled slightly, knowing this was the first of many tests. "Because we have something you do not. We have perseverance. We have curiosity. And we have the ability to face challenges without giving up." Nira raised an eyebrow. "And what makes you think perseverance will help you here? The challenges of the Aelora cluster are not like anything on your home planet." Zahir glanced around, noticing small details others might miss. The station had traps hidden in its design, surveillance systems that could detect thoughts and intentions, and technology that bent light and sound in ways humans could barely comprehend. Yet he did not falter. "Perhaps not," he said calmly. "But we have something else as well. We have ingenuity. We adapt. We learn quickly. Even what seems impossible can be solved with patience and thought." Sola tilted her head, intrigued despite herself. "You speak with confidence. Very few of your kind do. Most would cower in our presence." Zahir stepped closer, his posture open but firm. "Fear is natural. But courage is what defines a civilization. Humans have faced countless dangers and survived. We have made mistakes, but we learn from them. That is how we have reached the stars." The princesses were silent for a moment, studying him. Then Tavia let out a quiet laugh. "You are bold, human. Bold and perhaps foolish. But boldness can be entertaining." She gestured to the station. "You will be our guest for now. Learn our ways, observe our worlds. We will see if your words hold any truth. Zahir nodded, bowing his head slightly. We are grateful. We will honor your hospitality and your guidance. The princesses led the humans through the station, showing them parts of their technology, their living quarters, and their archives. Everything was beautiful, elegant, and far more advanced than human standards. Yet Zahir noticed something subtle. Though the station was magnificent, the princesses' interactions revealed small tensions. They often disagreed in private, their decisions marked by caution and caution born from fear rather than arrogance. Zahir realized that their mockery was not entirely born from superiority. It was also a defense. They had never faced a species like humanity, one that combined curiosity, courage, and ingenuity in ways that could surprise even the most advanced civilizations. As they walked, a minor crisis occurred. A maintenance droid malfunctioned, spilling a corrosive substance that could have damaged the station's delicate systems. The alien attendants froze, unsure how to handle it without alerting the princesses. Zahir acted immediately. Using a portable containment unit and quick thinking, he neutralized the hazard before it could spread. Tavia watched silently, her usual amusement replaced by a faint spark of respect. Not bad, human, she said softly. Quick thinking. Perhaps your people are not as helpless as we believed. Zahir allowed himself a small smile. Thank you. Humans have faced far greater dangers than this. The crew followed closely, noting how Zahir's calm demeanor inspired confidence. Even the youngest crew members who had feared the princess's ridicule began to feel pride in their species. Humanity was small in comparison to the aliens, but the heart of its people was strong and unyielding. By evening, the humans were shown to their quarters. The rooms were luxurious yet alien, with walls that adjusted to light and color according to mood. Zahir and his team gathered to discuss the day's events. This is going to be a challenge, said Mara, Zahir's second in command. The princesses clearly underestimate us. Zahir nodded thoughtfully. Yes, but underestimation can be an advantage. We will study their ways, learn their strengths and weaknesses. We will show them that humanity is not to be dismissed, Mara smiled. I believe in you, Zahir. If anyone can earn their respect, it is you. Zahir looked out of the viewport, gazing at the distant stars of the Elora cluster. The princesses had mocked humanity for generations. Now humanity was here, standing tall, ready to prove that courage, intelligence, and perseverance could bridge even the widest gaps between species. The first day had ended, but the journey was only beginning. The alien princesses had seen human bravery in small measure, but Zahir knew that true tests awaited. He was prepared to face them all. Humanity would not be mocked any longer, and as he drifted to sleep in the alien quarters, he felt a quiet thrill. The stars of the Elora cluster seemed closer than ever before, and the future of humanity, once underestimated, was about to shine brightly among them. The next morning, Zahir awoke to a soft, glowing light filtering through the walls of the alien quarters. The hum of the station reminded him that he was far from Earth and far from anything familiar. Yet he felt no fear. Humanity had faced countless challenges, and this was simply another. The princesses had arranged a meeting in the Grand Hall. As Zahir and his crew entered, they noticed it was enormous. The floor shimmered like liquid silver, and walls curved upward into ceilings that disappeared into soft, glowing mist. At the far end, Tavia, Nira, and Sola stood in regal formation. Their expressions were calm but sharp, like predators observing something new and curious. Tavia's voice echoed clearly across the hall. Human, your presence has amused us, but now we wish to see if your courage and mind can match your words. Zahir nodded respectfully. I am ready to face any test you deem necessary. Humanity has learned that survival depends on courage, intelligence, and teamwork. Nira smiled faintly. Very well. Follow us. The princesses led them to a chamber that looked alive. The walls shifted and flowed, and the floor moved beneath their feet as if it had its own will. At the center of the room was a glowing platform. This is the trial of insight and courage, Sola explained. It will test your strength, your mind, and your spirit. Fail, and you will be sent home with your pride broken. Succeed, and you may earn a measure of our respect. Zahir's crew exchanged worried glances, but he remained calm. We will do our best. That is all humanity can promise. The moment Zahir stepped onto the platform, the floor changed beneath him, transforming into a maze of twisting corridors and floating bridges. The walls shifted constantly, creating illusions of dead ends and traps. Small robotic guardians appeared, scanning the humans for any misstep. Each guardian was armed with harmless but challenging energy fields, designed to push the challengers into mistakes. Tavia's voice rang from above. Your task is simple, human. Reach the center of the maze. Only then will you prove your worth. Zahir studied the paths carefully. Most humans would panic, but he noticed patterns in the illusions. The walls moved rhythmically, creating windows of opportunity. He guided his crew, Mara and Lynn, through the maze with calm precision. Watch the rhythm. Do not rush. Think before each step. A guardian blocked their path, emitting a pulse of energy that could push them off the floating bridge. Zahir quickly analyzed the pattern of its movements. Step to the left as it extends its arm, then move forward when it retracts. His instructions were clear and precise. Together they timed their movements perfectly, passing the guardian without a scratch. As they progressed, the maze became more difficult. Sections of the floor vanished, forcing them to jump between platforms. Some paths led to illusions of the void, testing their fear. Zahir remained focused, reminding his team to trust their instincts and each other. Fear is natural, but courage is choosing to act despite it, he said, echoing the principles humans had learned over centuries. Meanwhile, the princesses watched silently. Tavia's eyes narrowed with interest. She had expected the humans to panic, to fail under pressure, but Zahir's calm guidance and careful observation were impressive. Nira tilted her head and Sola's expression softened slightly. Perhaps there was more to humans than they had believed. Halfway through the trial, a new challenge appeared. A section of the maze collapsed into a chasm, leaving a wide gap between the floating platforms. The guardians intensified their patrols, blocking any easy passage. Zahir paused, studying the space. He noticed that certain parts of the platforms responded to weight and movement. If we time it correctly, he explained to Mara and Lynn, we can create a ripple that moves us across safely. Mara hesitated. It looks too dangerous. One wrong step and we could fall. Zahir smiled reassuringly. Danger is not failure. We learn from danger. Trust me. They moved together using precise timing to cross the chasm. Their hearts raced, but they landed safely on the other side. Even the princesses could not hide their surprise. Sola's lips curved into the faintest of smiles. Interesting, she murmured. As they continued, they reached a section filled with intricate puzzles projected in midair. Floating symbols shifted constantly, and the humans had to match patterns to unlock the next passage. Zahir observed carefully. Look for repetitions and symmetry. That is the key. Don't rush. Working together, they solved the puzzles, each step reinforcing their confidence. Mara whispered, I did not think we could do this. Zahir shook his head gently. This is what humans do. We keep trying, we adapt. That is why we survive. Finally, they reached the last chamber before the center. A guardian larger than the others blocked the path. It had multiple arms, each moving independently, creating a complex pattern of energy fields. Zahir studied it for a long moment. This one is not just about strength. It is about observation. Watch its arms. They follow a pattern. Time your movement carefully. The crew followed his instructions, stepping and jumping in perfect synchrony. When they reached the Guardian's base, Zahir used a small device to project a decoy reflection, confusing the Guardian and allowing them to slip past. They arrived at the center platform, exhausted but victorious. Tavia's voice echoed warmly this time. Human, you have shown courage, intelligence, and leadership. Few of your kind could accomplish what you have today. You may proceed, but remember, this is only the beginning. Nira and Sola nodded, their expressions more serious than before. Perhaps humanity is not as weak as we assumed, Sola said quietly. Zahir allowed himself a small smile. Thank you. Humans have always faced challenges, even when the odds were against them. The princesses led them to a serene chamber overlooking the stars of the Aelora cluster. It was a moment of reflection. The humans realized they had earned the first measure of respect from beings who had once mocked them. The princesses had seen not just skill but determination, teamwork, and courage. Zahir looked at the princesses, noticing something new. There was no more laughter in their eyes, only careful observation. You expected weakness, he said quietly, but strength is not always obvious at first glance. Tavia inclined her head slightly. You have proven that strength comes in many forms. Today, you have shown us that humans can think, lead, and endure. This is impressive, Mara whispered. I think we have gained their attention in a way we could never have imagined. Zahir nodded. Yes, but attention is only the first step. Respect must be earned continually. Tomorrow will bring new challenges. As they returned to their quarters, the humans felt a renewed sense of purpose. The princesses were no longer distant figures of mockery. They were observers, now curious, now cautious. Humanity had survived the first trial. They had shown that courage and ingenuity could surpass size, technology, and reputation. That night, Zahir stood alone at the viewport, gazing at the cluster of stars. He thought of Earth, of the countless humans who had dreamed of reaching the stars. He thought of the lessons they had learned from history, that unity, courage, and adaptability were the keys to survival. The princesses had mocked humanity, but now they had seen what humans could do. And that was only the beginning. Zahir's mind was already planning for the trials ahead. He knew the princesses would test them in ways more dangerous, more intricate, and more demanding. Yet he felt ready, not just for himself, but for all humanity. For the first time, he felt a quiet thrill. Humanity was no longer a distant, mocked species. They were here. They were proving themselves. And with each small victory, Zahir could feel the foundations of a new era forming in the stars. The trial of courage had been won, but the story of humanity in the Alora cluster was only beginning. Zahir smiled faintly, knowing that the galaxy would soon see the true spirit of humans, undaunted, clever, and unyielding. The Alora cluster was a marvel of life and light, yet beneath its beauty lay a quiet tension. Zahir had barely slept since the trial of courage, his mind alert to the subtle currents of the alien society around him. The princesses no longer mocked humanity openly, but he could feel their eyes on him, studying every move. Respect was beginning to take root, but the cluster held dangers even more serious than pride and misunderstanding. It began with reports from scouts. Small settlements on the outer planets were attacked by unknown forces. Ships were hijacked and communication lines were cut. The princesses were surprised, unprepared for organized attacks of this scale. Their fleets were powerful, yes, but their strategy relied on tradition rather than adaptability. They had not faced a threat that combined speed, cunning, and ruthlessness. Tavia summoned Zahir to the council chamber, a vast room suspended high above the city of flowing crystal. Human, she said, her tone measured. Our intelligence is incomplete. These attackers are swift, coordinated, and relentless. We fear our forces may not be enough to defend the outer planets. We need your counsel. Zahir observed the holographic maps projected before them. The mercenaries moved in unpredictable patterns, avoiding patrols and exploiting weak points in planetary defenses. They are not simply attacking, Zahir said carefully. They are testing defenses, learning patterns. They want to understand the cluster before they strike decisively. We need a plan that uses unpredictability against them. Nira frowned. Your methods are untested here. How can you be certain humans can help against such foes? Zahir looked her in the eyes. I cannot be certain, but I know humans have survived threats that seemed impossible. We adapt, we cooperate, and we think beyond what tradition allows. Let us combine our knowledge with yours. Together we can defend these worlds. Sola spoke quietly, almost thoughtfully. Perhaps it is time to see if your people are truly as resourceful as you claim. The princesses agreed to allow Zahir to coordinate a small task force. He selected a mixed crew of humans and aliens willing to follow his strategy. The humans brought ingenuity and determination, while the aliens contributed advanced technology and local knowledge. Zahir immediately set to work, studying enemy movements, predicting likely targets, and designing countermeasures. The first encounter came at the small mining planet of Virel. The mercenaries had disabled its defenses, preparing to seize valuable resources. Zahir arrived with a small fleet, positioning ships in a formation the princesses had never seen. They expect straightforward resistance, he explained. We will give them none. Move unpredictably, strike and retreat, then strike again. Confuse them. Make them second-guess every move. The battle began. The mercenaries struck fast, but Zahir's plan worked. Human intuition combined with alien precision allowed the fleet to anticipate attacks and counter them before the enemy could react. Mara, Zahir's second-in-command, guided one wing of ships with steady commands. Lin coordinated communications and resources, ensuring no one faltered under pressure. The mercenaries grew frustrated, their confidence shaken by unexpected tactics. They attempted a bold strike on the planet's core facilities, only to find themselves trapped in a clever diversion created by Zahir. Using holographic projections and human-engineered decoys, the attackers were forced into narrow paths, where the defending fleet disabled them with minimal conflict. Tavia observed the battle from her command platform, her usual composure mixed with astonishment. "They are clever," she admitted softly. "Not just brave, but clever. They anticipate, adapt, and turn our technology into something more than tools. This is remarkable." After the mercenaries were repelled, Zahir landed on Varel to assess the situation. Civilians and miners greeted him cautiously, still wary of the unknown human among their rulers. Zahir spoke to them with calm authority, encouraging them to maintain their courage and cooperation. "Humans and aliens can stand together," he said. "If we unite, no challenge is too great." The princesses joined him, moving through the crowds. Sola knelt beside a group of children who had watched the battle from hidden shelters. She smiled gently. "You were brave," she said. "Your courage helped save your home." The children beamed, recognizing that the human and the aliens had worked as a team to protect them. As the days passed, Zahir and the princesses coordinated defenses across multiple planets. The mercenaries attempted to strike again, but each time Zahir adapted, predicting their moves and creating clever strategies. His calm leadership inspired both humans and aliens to act decisively, even under pressure. Nira approached him during a quiet moment aboard the Lumina. "Human, your methods are unlike any we have seen. You do not rely on overwhelming force, yet your results are effective. Why is this?" Zahir smiled gently. "Humans have learned that force alone does not win battles. Observation, planning, and cooperation are just as important. Even a smaller group can succeed if it works together and thinks ahead." Nira studied him closely. "I once thought your species weak. Now I see something different. You are not like the stories told of humans, small, helpless, and primitive. You are adaptable. That is a kind of strength we underestimated." Zahir nodded. "Strength comes in many forms, and courage is what allows it to show." The most critical moment arrived when the mercenaries launched a coordinated attack on the planet of Sorel, a hub of commerce and culture. They had learned from previous encounters and were determined to break the cluster's defenses. Zahir, anticipating this, had prepared an intricate plan combining human strategy and alien technology. Ships moved like a living organism, shields and weapons coordinated to create false vulnerabilities. The mercenaries were drawn into traps where they were surrounded, unable to advance without encountering unexpected resistance. Zahir directed the movements with precision, adjusting in real time as the battle unfolded. The princesses observed closely. Tavia whispered, "He predicts their moves, yet he does not rely on brute power. His mind is his weapon, and it is sharper than many of ours." By the end of the conflict, the mercenaries were defeated, their fleet scattered. Planets that had once feared invasion now celebrated humanity's role in their defense. Zahir had not only saved lives but also demonstrated that courage, intelligence, and cooperation could surpass even the most advanced alien technology. After the battle, the princesses gathered privately. Their conversation was quiet but earnest. "I did not believe humans could achieve this," Tavia admitted. "And yet one human has changed the balance of power in our cluster." Nira nodded. "We mocked them for centuries, but perhaps we were wrong. Their courage is not loud or violent, but steady and unwavering." Sola looked thoughtful. "We must reconsider our assumptions. This human has shown that even a species we underestimated can teach us something important. Perhaps it is time to listen and learn, not ridicule." Meanwhile, Zahir returned to his crew. Mara and Lin greeted him with smiles of relief and pride. "You did it," Mara said. "You showed them that humans are not weak. You showed them who we really are." Zahir shook his head. "We all did it. Humanity succeeds because we work together, even with those who are different. Today was a victory, but we must remain vigilant. The galaxy is larger than we know, and new challenges will come." The humans and the princesses now shared a bond forged in trials and battles. Mutual respect began to grow. Zahir had proven that courage was more than facing danger. It was about leadership, observation, and persistence. Even beings who once mocked humanity now had to acknowledge that there was power in the human spirit. As night fell over the Aelora cluster, Zahir stood on a balcony overlooking a city of shining crystal towers. The stars stretched endlessly above, a canvas of possibility. He felt the quiet pride of a species that had often been underestimated, now showing the galaxy its true strength. The princesses, once aloof and mocking, had begun to see that humans could be leaders, protectors, and champions. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new trials of ingenuity and courage. But Zahir was ready. Humanity had shown that it could adapt, survive, and thrive. And in the hearts of the princesses, respect for humans had begun to grow quietly but firmly, like a seed taking root in fertile soil. The shadows in the cluster had been revealed, and humanity had met them head-on. For Zahir, for his crew, and for all those who looked to the stars, the journey was only beginning. The galaxy would learn that even a species once mocked could rise as a champion, inspiring awe, cooperation, and hope across the stars. The battle for the Aelora cluster had been won, but its effects were still being felt. Planets once trembling at the idea of invasion now breathed freely. The people had witnessed the courage of humans and the clever strategies of Zahir. What had begun as mockery from the alien princesses was slowly turning into respect, a quiet acknowledgement that humanity was more than small, fragile beings. Tavia, Nira, and Sola had gathered in the central palace of the planet Lirath, where Zahir had been summoned. The palace was vast, its floors gleaming like liquid crystal and walls adorned with moving light patterns that reflected the mood of the occupants. The princesses had convened not to mock but to discuss the future. Tavia stepped forward, her posture regal yet deliberate. "Zahir, human, you have not only protected our cluster but have also demonstrated wisdom beyond your kind. You have guided our forces, shown courage in the face of danger, and brought strategy to our defenses. It is clear to us that you are a true champion." Zahir bowed slightly. "I am honored, Princess. I did not act alone. Humanity succeeds because we work together, with trust and understanding. The same is true with your people. Together we have achieved more than either could alone." Nira's eyes softened as she regarded him. "Your words reflect your actions. You do not command through fear, but through respect. This is rare among leaders, even among those of our kind." Sola approached, her expression thoughtful. "We have mocked your people for centuries. Yet now we see that courage, intelligence, and persistence are not bound to size or technology. They exist in those who choose to act. Humanity has proven this." The three princesses, once united in their scorn, now stood before Zahir with humility. They had witnessed his calm under pressure, his clever strategies, and his willingness to protect others without hesitation. For the first time, they truly understood that humans were not weak. They were resilient, adaptable, and capable of inspiring loyalty. With a graceful gesture, Tavia spoke again. "Human, we wish to serve the cause you represent. We will follow your guidance and learn from your leadership. We are no longer the mockers of humanity. We are its allies, and from this day we pledge our support to you." Zahir's eyes widened slightly, but he controlled his expression. This was not the result of flattery, but of respect earned through trials and deeds. "I accept your pledge," he said firmly. "But understand, this is not about power. It is about cooperation, learning, and mutual respect. We stand together because it is right, not because one commands the other." The princesses nodded, and a quiet agreement settled over the chamber. From that moment, Zahir was recognized as the champion of humanity, a symbol of hope and courage across the cluster. The first step was to train the princesses in combined strategies. Zahir organized sessions where humans and aliens worked together, practicing coordination, observation, and adaptive tactics. Unlike the previous trials where humans had been tested, this was about teaching. The princesses were quick learners, absorbing lessons on patience, resourcefulness, and teamwork. During a training session on the planet Virel, Zahir led exercises in strategy and observation. "Watch the patterns," he instructed. "Every action has a consequence. Predict, adapt, and cooperate. The enemy may be strong, but a mind united with others can overcome any obstacle." Tavia moved cautiously at first, trying to follow the unfamiliar methods. Zahir corrected her gently, explaining how human intuition complemented alien technology. Nira observed quietly, learning to combine her advanced technology with strategies that required flexibility, rather than rigid control. Sola surprised them all by improvising solutions in ways even humans had not considered, showing that learning was a two-way process. Over days and weeks, the bond between humans and princesses grew stronger. They shared meals, stories, and laughter, learning not only about strategy but about one another's cultures. Zahir encouraged discussion, valuing input from the princesses while guiding them with a calm hand. One evening, as the training ended for the day, Tavia approached Zahir quietly. "Champion, I once believed humans were weak. I laughed at your kind, but now I see that strength is not always measured in power or technology. You have taught us courage, patience, and wisdom. I wish to learn more." Zahir smiled. "And you will. Strength comes in many forms. Respect, courage, and cooperation are as powerful as any weapon. Together we can achieve more than any of us alone." The news of Zahir's recognition spread quickly across the cluster. Planets that had feared humanity now celebrated them. Statues of Zahir were not yet built, but stories of his deeds traveled faster than any fleet. Children and adults alike were inspired by the human who had united species and defended the cluster with strategy and courage. The princesses, once symbols of alien pride, now stood as examples of humility and loyalty. They traveled with Zahir, assisting him in diplomatic missions and defense planning. They had learned that to serve was not to diminish themselves but to contribute to something greater than personal glory. Critical challenge arose when intelligence reported a fleet of rogue mercenaries regrouping near the outer rim. The princesses were concerned. Even with their combined forces, the attackers were dangerous. Zahir convened a council. "We will face them with coordination, not panic. Humans have faced overwhelming odds before, and we have survived by working together. The same will happen here. Every ship, every planet, every crew member must act in concert. We protect each other." The princesses agreed, their confidence in Zahir evident. Tavia spoke first. "We will follow your plan. We trust your judgment." Nira nodded. "Lead us. Humanity's strength is now ours as well." Sola added, "We serve the cause not out of fear but because it is right. We are ready." With this unity, Zahir devised a strategy that combined human adaptability and alien technology. Ships moved in coordinated patterns that confounded the enemy. Planets were fortified with clever defensive systems that maximized minimal resources. Communication was seamless, with humans and aliens working as one. When the enemy fleet arrived, they found resistance unlike any they had faced. Zahir's strategy, paired with the princess's advanced technology, neutralized attacks before they could reach the planets. The humans' courage inspired alien crews to act decisively, and the princess's guidance ensured every move was efficient and precise. After the battle, the princesses acknowledged the success openly. "Champion," Tavia said, "your guidance has saved countless lives. Humanity has proven itself not just through courage but through leadership and wisdom. We will continue to follow you not because we must but because it is right." Zahir looked at them, understanding the significance. The transformation was complete. The princesses, once symbols of mockery and pride, now stood as loyal allies. Respect and admiration had replaced derision. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, not through force alone but through courage, intelligence, and the willingness to unite with others. As evening fell over Lirith, Zahir stood on a balcony overlooking the illuminated city. He reflected on the journey, the first encounter, the trial of courage, the battles against the mercenaries, and now the bond with the princesses. Humanity had been underestimated, mocked, and dismissed. Now it had risen as a force of ingenuity, bravery, and leadership. The princesses joined him silently. Together they watched the stars. The silence was not awkward but respectful, a shared acknowledgement of what had been accomplished. Tavia spoke softly. "You have shown us what it means to be truly strong. Not in might but in heart and mind." Zahir nodded. "Strength is many things. Courage, wisdom, and compassion are as important as technology or power. Together, humans and aliens can achieve what neither could alone." Sola smiled faintly. "We have much to learn, but we will follow your guidance. Humanity's champion has earned our trust and loyalty." Nira added quietly, "We once mocked your kind, but now we see that courage, intelligence, and persistence are forces no one can ignore. We are ready to stand with you as equals and allies." In that moment, a new era began. Humanity was no longer a distant species to be ridiculed. It was a partner, A protector and a leader, Zahir, the champion of humanity, had shown that courage and ingenuity could bridge worlds, unite species, and inspire respect across the stars. As the night deepened, Zahir felt a quiet satisfaction. The battles were not over. Challenges still awaited, but humanity had proven its worth. The princesses were no longer adversaries or mockers. They were allies, learners, and companions in a shared mission to protect and explore the galaxy. And above them, the stars of the Alora cluster seemed brighter than ever, reflecting the hope, courage, and strength of a species once underestimated, now rising proudly among the stars. The Alora cluster had changed forever. Planets that once feared alien domination now looked to humanity as a symbol of courage and wisdom. The princesses, Tavia, Nira, and Sola, stood beside Zahir, no longer laughing at humans, no longer mocking. They had learned the value of unity, intelligence, and perseverance. They had seen firsthand what humans could achieve when they worked together, and they had chosen to serve not out of obligation, but out of respect and loyalty. Zahir walked through the capital city of Lirath, observing the citizens who now moved freely under the protection of the combined forces. Humans and aliens walked side by side, exchanging knowledge, sharing stories, and celebrating their shared victories. Children laughed as they watched a display of holographic simulations, showing how the humans had defended the cluster against the mercenaries. The images inspired them, planting seeds of courage, hope, and imagination. The princesses followed Zahir, silently observing the impact of his leadership. Nira's eyes were thoughtful. "I never imagined such change could happen so quickly," she said. "Your people have shown us that leadership does not come from fear, but from understanding and wisdom." Zahir smiled gently. "Leadership is not about power alone. It is about helping others realize their potential and work together. Humanity has learned this over centuries, and now we share it with you." Tavia, whose expression had always been sharp and critical, now softened. "We once mocked your species. We believed you were small, weak, and limited, but you have shown us courage, ingenuity, and strength in ways we did not understand. It is humbling to witness." Sola, the quietest of the three, spoke last. "We serve now because we have chosen to. Humanity has earned our trust, our loyalty, and our respect. We will stand beside you, champion, as equals and allies." Zahir nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. The cluster's peace depended not only on strength, but on the continued cooperation between humans and aliens. He addressed the gathered citizens and the princesses from the central plaza of Lirath, his voice steady and clear. "Today marks a new era. Humanity has proven its courage, intelligence, and determination. The princesses of the Alora cluster have chosen to work with us, not because they must, but because they see the value of unity and respect. Together we will protect this cluster, explore the stars, and ensure that no species is underestimated again." The crowd erupted in cheers, a mixture of humans and aliens celebrating the beginning of a new chapter. Zahir looked at the princesses, who smiled faintly, acknowledging their shared mission. The era of mockery was over. Respect and cooperation had replaced derision. In the following weeks, Zahir worked with the princesses to establish a network of alliances across the cluster. Trade routes were reopened, defense systems were improved, and cultural exchanges flourished. Humans taught the aliens about teamwork, problem-solving, and resilience, while learning from alien technology, philosophy, and art. Together, they created a network of collaboration that strengthened every planet. During one training exercise on Virel, Zahir observed how far the princesses had come. They coordinated fleets with skill and patience, combining human strategies with alien technology. Tavia had grown confident, leading with clarity and foresight. Nira had embraced adaptability, thinking in ways that merged logic and creativity. Sola's innovations had impressed even Zahir, demonstrating that learning was always a two-way process. Zahir spoke to them as the exercise concluded. "Look at what we can achieve together. We have learned from each other, and that learning makes us stronger than any force that threatens the cluster. Humanity did not reach this point alone. It is through cooperation, courage, and respect that we thrive." Tavia nodded. "We see it clearly now. Mockery serves no purpose. Only collaboration, understanding, and courage create lasting strength." Nira added, "We will continue to serve not blindly, but thoughtfully. We have learned from humans, and we will continue to grow with them." Sola smiled, her eyes reflecting pride and respect. Humanity has shown us what it truly means to be a champion. We are honored to stand by your side, Zahir. The unity of humans and princesses soon became legendary. Across the cluster, stories of their cooperation inspired hope and courage. Young humans dreamed of exploring the stars, knowing that their species could achieve great things. Aliens learned that strength came not only from advanced technology, but from intelligence, observation, and the willingness to act together. One evening, Zahir stood on a balcony of the central palace on Lirath, gazing at the stars that stretched endlessly across the sky. The city below was alive with activity, glowing with light and energy. The princesses joined him silently, observing the harmony that had been created. Tavia spoke softly. "It is remarkable. The humans have transformed the cluster not with force alone, but with heart and mind. We underestimated them for so long, and yet they have taught us more than we imagined." Zahir smiled faintly. "Strength is not always obvious. It can be quiet, steady, and persistent. Humanity has learned this through survival, cooperation, and courage. The galaxy has now seen it as well." Nira looked thoughtful. "I never believed a species so small could inspire change on such a scale. You have shown us that courage, intelligence, and determination are more powerful than we realized." Sola nodded. "We will continue to serve this cause not because we must, but because we understand its importance. Humanity has earned our trust and our loyalty." As they watched the stars together, Zahir realized that this moment was not just a personal victory. It was the triumph of a species that had once been underestimated, mocked, and dismissed. Humanity had risen to become a respected and admired presence among the stars. The princesses had been transformed as well. Their pride had been replaced with humility, their mockery with respect, and their fear with trust. They had seen the power of courage, intelligence, and cooperation, and they had chosen to follow, not blindly, but as partners and allies. In the days that followed, new opportunities arose. Humans were invited to join councils of governance across the cluster, contributing their knowledge, creativity, and insight. Aliens learned to work alongside them, and together they addressed challenges from diplomacy to exploration. Zahir continued to lead, but always with humility and a focus on cooperation. One day, as Zahir and the princesses walked through a bustling marketplace on Virel, a child approached them shyly. "Are you really the champion of humanity?" the child asked, eyes wide with admiration. Zahir knelt to meet the child's gaze. "I am a representative of all humans. Courage, curiosity, and the willingness to work together are what make us strong. You too can carry these values forward." The princesses smiled, watching as hope and inspiration spread among the young. Tavia whispered, "This is why we serve. Not for glory, but to protect, to guide, and to learn." Nira added, "We once mocked humanity, but now we see the truth. Strength is not in ridicule or fear, but in courage, wisdom, and unity." Sola placed her hand lightly on Zahir's shoulder. "You have taught us much, champion. Together we will continue to protect this cluster and explore what lies beyond." The stars of the Aelora cluster shone brighter that night, reflecting the courage and unity of a species once underestimated. Humanity had proven its worth not through arrogance or force, but through intelligence, cooperation, and bravery. The princesses, once symbols of mockery, now served as allies, learners, and companions in a shared mission. Zahir stood tall, gazing at the horizon. The galaxy was vast, filled with challenges, wonders, and opportunities. But humanity had found its place among the stars. It was respected, admired, and trusted. The princesses, once distant and mocking, were now loyal partners. And together they would face whatever the future held. This was the beginning of a new era. An era where courage and intelligence mattered more than fear and mockery. An era where humans and aliens could stand together as equals. An era where the champion of humanity led not by power alone, but by example, inspiring hope and unity across the stars. Zahir felt a quiet satisfaction as he looked at the city below. The battles had been won, the lessons had been learned, and the bonds of trust had been forged. Humanity had not only survived in the galaxy, but it had risen to a place of honor and respect. And so, under the glittering stars of the Aelora cluster, humanity's journey continued. With courage in their hearts, wisdom in their minds, and the loyalty of newfound allies, they were ready to face the infinite possibilities of the universe. The princesses, once mocking observers, now served their champion, and together they would shape a future where humanity shone brightly among the stars.